Right, it's a couple of weeks since I've been near the Honda CRF450. What I've done so far, I took all the valves out and gave them a clean up. It didn't take much clean actually. I just put them in a vertical drill with a bit of emery paper, a bit of that, and just clean them up. Then I got my grinding sucker and just a wee bit of let's see, this is one of the old valves. Just with a wee bit of brass on there, put it in and give it a wee turn, and you should get a constant black mark right round. That's telling you, making sure it's sealed alright. And we're alright. Another good way to test it is put it up like that, flat, get the spark plug in and fill that with petrol and leave it overnight. Obviously you have to watch what you're doing because for obvious reasons. Just make sure it's flat, and you'll soon see if you've got any leaking valves, because it's obviously either going to come out the inlet port or out the exhaust. Right, so everything's alright there. I've got that in, I've got that back on. Just make sure when you're doing 4-stroke cylinder head that you've got a couple of wee blocks of wood, because you'd very unlikely, like, but you're not going to be turning that. There's a chance you could bend the valves. Right, I'll get this from the other way. Right, I've checked this earlier, so I'll just go through how I do this. The last time I shimmed a cylinder head up was on it was a Morris Marina, a 1700cc overhead cam Morris Marina, and that's got shims in it, so that's gone back 40 years easily. Right, so inlet, exhaust, and I've marked down. You have to write these things down. They trust your memory, but I can't trust my memory. Right, so you've got your camshaft, the lobes pointing right up, right, or thereabouts. Now, the exhaust gap on this anyway for a 2005 is, the exhaust should be 0.28 millimeters plus or minus 0.03. So you've got a wee bit of tolerance. The inlet should be 0.16 plus or minus 0.03. Now I've heard these are bad for closing up, so this is quite critical that you get these right. Right, so I've got that. That's left hand side, right hand side. Left hand, I'll check first. The exhaust should be 0.28 millimeters. Right, now I've got that. That's when you're checking that should, usually you've got a wee bit of play on your feelers, right? If that's like that, that's the gap. So that's 0.483 millimeters. Right, a quick wee calculation to get the right shim. Obviously, well, what I'd done before I built up, I measured the shims. Now that shim in there is 2.15 millimeters. So what you do, I've wrote this down because I got a bit confused with this. No, I didn't. Right, so you've got the gap, the 0.483. Right, so what you do, you take off what should be the 0.28. That brings it down to 0.203. Right, now what you do, you add that to the old shim thickness. The old shim thickness was 2.15, and the difference in that, so you add the two of them together, so I want a 2.353 shim. And obviously you have to round them off. Right, that's, I ordered these shims up, so I just hope that my calculations are correct. This here for the decompression, that gap should be 0.35 millimeters. The thing is, you can adjust that with that screw. 0.35. Right, we'll just check that out. .35 is 14 thousandths of an inch. That's maybe just a wee bit slack, so I'll get these done first though. Right, that other one, the gap at the right hand side, let's see, so it goes through, yeah, that's two. Look at these, my other feeler gauges, I think these have got more blades in them. Right. So basically that's 0.356. So to get that, you would get a calculator out. 0.356 minus what gap it's supposed to be, 0.28, so that's minus 0.28, that equals, now you add that, that's 0.076, you'll add that to the existing shim size, which is 2.2. So that's the new size of the shim I want is 2.276. So you've got a wee bit to play with there as well. You've got a 0.03, so you'd be allowed a 2.24 or 230. That's right, I think I said that right. No, it does get a wee bit. The more you do these, the easier it'll get. Right, so I've ordered shims up, hopefully the right size. So I'm going to take that off and I'll put the shims in and see how it goes. And if I make a titty, I'll not show you. Right, I've got the 3 screws out. Just watch when you lift this up, so it's, you know, everything doesn't fly everywhere. Right, so that left shim there, 2.35. Right, let us see the shims we've got. Right, we've got 2.35. and this is the left. Put that in a safe place. They're all sticking together. Right, are these marked? Yep. Right, so that's 2.35 in there. The one on the right hand side, we're looking for 2.276. 2.2. 2.25. That's obviously the closest one I could get. You're maybe better doing these. When you do these, you're wanting them maybe a wee bit, well, no slack, but you're better going to the sort of bigger gap with these, what I've been hearing. Right, so that's 2.276. So that's 2.25. Right. Inlet left. Inlet left is 1.566. 1.5. There's 1.55. So that's a 1.55 in there. Next one, right hand side, is a 1.511. So I've got 1.50. So I think if you're doing these, you're better going, if you're sort of rounding up your shim number, you're better going for a slightly thinner one. So it's 1.50. Right, I'll get that back on. Now, I'm sure it's better if you put these, if you want to call them buckets, the valve buckets or whatever you want to call these, back in first. No, so I'll put that the right way round. These have got a fair amount of oil in them now, so they're alright there. Right, and you've got dowels that go into the two holes there. That's that just entered on the dowels. And with the bolts. Different lengths. Different lengths. These shorter ones go at the back. Well, towards the inlet. Right, I'll get him tightened up. Obviously you want to, I've left that one out, I'm waiting at the bolt because that one, the threads on that wasn't very good off the old cylinder head. Right, I've got the camshaft back on. Right, check this. Right, exhaust should be 0.28. 0.28. Right. There's a 0.27. Right, the feeler gauge is 0.27, then it goes up to 0.30, so that's in spec. Right, I'll try the inlets. Right, I have to admit, I tried that off camera just to see first, but I've not tried these. The exhaust, sorry, the inlets. The inlet should be 0.16. Right, 0.16, what is that? That kind of difference. Right, so we'll try 0.17. It's either 0.152 or point. Right, I'll try the weird one first. That's just a wee bit slack by the feel of it. Right, we'll try that one. The 0.178. So that would still be in spec because it's 0.16 plus or minus 0.03. Now you see how that's just grabbing the camshaft. Let's try just a matter of interest. I'll go the next size up. So that's basically 0.20. That's 1/8 thou. I'll say that's seems pretty slack actually. I'm tempted to leave if they're a wee bit slack. You're better having wider valve clearances than too tight. Right, what's that point? Right, I'll try 9 thou. That's 0.22. That's still a wee bit slack. Try the next size up. 10 thou. .25. That's quite a bit. That's catching it, that. So that's 0.25, and it should be 0.16. So that's quite a bit. I'm tempted just to get this built up and run it, then recheck them, because I'd rather have them slack. Worst is going to happen, it's going to be a wee bit rattly. Right. Obviously I'll have to take all that back off to get the cylinder head bolts in, but you're better doing that on the bench than farting about on a bike.